What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had a great week. I definitely did. But this is my favorite part. Tonight we have an amazing guest, another amazing guest, I should say. She's an independent Christian recording artist. She has worked with some of your favorites, but I'm not going to steal her thunder. She's an amazing psalmist, songwriter, background singer, minister, motivator, entrepreneur. You name it, she does it. But like I said, I'm not going to steal her thunder. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Shalindria, I hope I said that correct. For those of you who may not be familiar with her, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and just give a little background to who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So with that being said, Miss Lott, you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Shalindria. I know that's a whole lot of name to take at one time, so just let that marinate, let that sit. Shalindria. But anyway, I am a singer, songwriter. I love to do background vocal arrangements. I don't really like introducing myself, but this is where it is. I am a praise and worship leader at Voices of Faith in Stone Mountain. I'm a mother of 5. That's pretty much about me. Pretty much from McDonough, Georgia. I'm just a country girl from McDonough, Georgia. So working on some music. I've been working on music for a while now, but it's time to actually start releasing the music. Sometimes the things that you're working on takes time and it takes a journey so that you can take people along with you on the journey and not just, oh, this is hot, let me just release this because it's speaking now. But sometimes the things that speak now are not ready yet. So I'm just patiently waiting on God, and we're going to work on some stuff and release some stuff this year. So just be waiting.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you were able to come on the show. This was really one of the interviews that I was looking forward to, because you just have a really down to earth quality to be so talented. Like there's a term that I kind of coined for certain people, and you fall in line with this phrase I'm about to say. You are extraordinarily regular.
Mm-hmm.
So like what it is that you have an amazing gift, but at the same time you carry yourself in a way that you carry yourself in such a humble way. You know what I mean? And that's very rare. So I would call you extraordinarily regular. You're amazing.
Cool. I gotta use that.
Let's start from the beginning. Sure, you got it. You got it. Let's start from the beginning. Like, when or how did you start singing?
Well, I come from a long line of singers on both sides of my family. My father, he's a singer. My mother and all of her siblings, they were either musicians, singers, architects, you name it. They were very, very just talented, and I grew up around the richness of our, musical background, and we just cherished it so much. And I started singing, actually, I'm trying to remember exactly when I knew, like, hey, I think I can sing a little bit. I've always wanted to sing because I was always put in a position to sing, but I didn't know why. I remember in kindergarten, I did during the, I can't get it out. During the graduation, they had me sing the song, and I to this day, I don't remember how, but I'm like 5 years old singing "This Land Is Your Land." But really, I started singing when I got in the Sunshine Band at my home church, Mount Olive Outreach Ministries in Griffin, Georgia.
Sunshine Band, that's throwback.
Started singing there. One of the leader at the time, she heard me singing the Star Spangled Banner downstairs because one of my friends, she was like, "You can sing," and she had me singing, and I didn't know that the director was listening to me. She said, "We're gonna put you in the choir and give you a solo." And ever since then, like I sang with my auntie's choir, I sang at their church, but never by myself. And I took a love for church and I took a love for music and singing for God at a young age, but it was just like trying to cultivate that part of myself and then getting into chorus and having dynamic choral directors that gave me another aspect of a music ability that I just absolutely love. And that's where it stemmed from.
Wow. So how long would you say was it between the time that you realized that you had a gift and the moment where you was like, you know what, I'm gonna put something out, like I'm gonna record, or I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start taking this more seriously to the point where I'm gonna start uh, doing events on my own.
So around the age of 12, I don't know if you all remember, you probably do the double cassette recorder. And you just put one
Absolutely.
side. I would record myself on one side and then put it on the other side and record the harmonies. And I started figuring out how to do my own background. And I started figuring out, hey, maybe I want to do this for a living. And so by the time I was, 15, 16 years old, I had been doing so many songs and just like learning how to, I guess, work in a studio. But at the time, it was just with my little double cassette recorder and just going back and forth. So that time frame in my teenage years was the time where I was like, I want to do this professionally, and I really wanted to do a lot when I was 18. And life, after you graduate high school, was like, oh, I got to get a job. I just can't go out here and sing
Yeah.
because I can't go out here and just travel the world and not, have a background, educational background or some type of background where somebody can help pave the way for me. So that's where it kind of started.
Okay. So why gospel? I mean, I know you said earlier that you started in the church at a young age, and
Mhm.
these and that's the pretty much the usual the usual background for most people in your position. But why gospel? Why go the Christian route?
I've always had such a love for God that I didn't want to sing for anybody but Him. It was that conviction that put me in that position. I just wanted to, like, anytime I tried to step outside of it, just to have fun, go to a lounge, sing like little songs. I never remember the words, like to any song that I hear
Mm-hmm.
outside of gospel. When I get up there to perform, I still feel like I'm not ministering or I'm not, doing what I'm supposed to do musically. So it's always been a seed in me to do gospel music, Christian, inspirational music. And my music is not like the churchy stuff. Like some of it, I can go there. I can do praise and worship. I can do churchy music, but there's more of an intimacy when you've been in a space, in a place where God has brought you through some things and He has brought you out of a lot. And it's like, it's a different message. So that's why that gospel is not going nowhere. Christian music for me is not going anywhere. I love my relationship with Him.
Not that I'm trying to, not that I'm trying to convince you one way or the other, or I'm trying to like be contentious or anything. But I mean, as far as secular music goes, I mean, a message. What do you say to people that say, well, it's a message of love? God is love.
Mm-hmm.
So if I sing to my significant other and I'm professing my love, then how can that be outside of, you know, righteousness? What do you say to that? What do you say to people who have that understanding or that logic
I
behind
don't have any issue or anything against it. It's just as
it?
for me, I can't. How can I say it? Like some people, it comes naturally for them to perform that way. For me, it just
Hmm.
is not easy to perform, and it's just about love. I can sing about love all day. Love, my love for God, and like love for people. If I love somebody, I can sing a love song. But as far as
Hmm.
just like, I see many performers and I'm like, I don't know how they do it. Like that's, I can't identify with tapping in to that part of myself when I've always tapped in to my spiritual side. So like that would have to be like cultivated, and I would have to sit in that moment to even try to be that. But because it's not in me, that's just, I don't know, that's just not me. I'm not against it. I love music. Nothing wrong with it.
Hmm.
To those who do it, I commend you because it's not easy. It's not like Samara Joy, who sings jazz. Like she had to be trained in what she does, and so it just comes from her. It exudes through her. It's so
Hmm.
natural to her, and because church is in me, ministry is in me, worship is in me. That comes naturally to me. And some people, it comes natural to perform. It's nothing. I don't ever think of performing when I sing.
So, so you've done since you've been on this path, you've had the opportunity to work with so many great artists: Shirley Caesar, Leandra Johnson, LaShawn Pace, the Pace sisters, Fred Hammond, and so on and so forth. Right?
Mhm.
Um, what were those? Can you speak to some of those experiences? Well, what was it like, and what and ultimately what did it do for you personally, like when you went away from it, and like even when you think about it now, like what does it say to you, like how do you navigate that in your mind?
Well, having those experiences most definitely were like highlights of my life. Growing up listening
Hmm.
to these artists and these people that I looked up to for so long, and just getting the chance to even be in the same vicinity or be on the same platform, or even to have to perform with them or before them, it has been just amazing to me. And to see how they actually work on the business side and work in the ministry side has been very, very beneficial to my life. And when I was 18, I'm gonna go back to this point. When I was 18, all I could think about was I want to sing, I want to be like here, Sheer, I want to be out here, I want to be famous. And then working with a lot of different artists and kind of getting into the music business a little bit and seeing a glimpse of actually what they go through and what they actually have to, like the standard they have to maintain. I know that that lifestyle is hard and it's difficult because a lot of things that's out here is man-made. So you're gonna be exhausted from anything that's man-made, any fame or anything that's out here. And I commend those people who have, stayed the course and paved the way for people like me, and even giving people like me an opportunity to work. And but Fred Hammond has to be like hands down my most favorite experience. That's my favorite male singer of all time. I'm just gonna put that out there. Anyway, um,
Me too. Me too.
my favorite male singer of all time, and it's his ballads. I love his writing that I love, and the fact that he played bass. That's my favorite. That's my favorite instrument. But
Hmm.
it has been the absolute highlight of my life, and my takeaway from it is, in my experience, we're kind of getting close to the gospel industry and seeing how ugly it is, even because it ain't just the gospel industry, it's the industry, the music industry as a whole. I just got to a place where I was like, God, what I used to want, I don't want it, and I don't care about it. And it's not saying I don't care about doing ministry, it's just I don't care about the business of how things go. And if things come my way, I know that God is going to lead me in the right doors and the right paths. But I'm not going to
Hmm.
go out here, and I'm not doing, this is just me talking. I'm not speaking for nobody else that's going to all of these these different things and trying to get on these different shows. And I'm not knocking your hustle. It's just not me. I'm at a place where I have become content with just being me, being myself, being a praise and worship leader, singing, getting the music that God has given me out, whatever the message that He's given me. That's all I want to do is just share it. If it goes globally, thank God. If it doesn't, I'm still grateful. I'm just grateful where I am and to see where God has taken me and my mindset on what I thought I wanted, because I thought I wanted this lifestyle. I thought that elevation, was promotion in the spirit, but it's not. And I'm more focused on what he's called me to, the people that he wants me to reach. And I'm not saying that these people that are in the industry aren't doing what God has called them to do. That's just their lane. I know my lane. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Um, you kind of answered a bunch of questions that I would have asked you
Oh, okay.
beforehand. But that's cool. That is absolutely cool. So going forward, you say you're not really looking for things that come, that tend to come along with, this thing, you know what I mean? The recognition and and the attention and stuff. But I would venture to think that even where you live, you have probably built kind of a name for yourself among your community and maybe surrounding areas. What is that like? You know what I mean? People, you go from obscurity to now people, oh, I remember you from such and such, or you're amazing, or whatever. Like how have you been able to navigate that?
I'm just like, to God be the glory, because I am just only sharing what I'm just excited to share. If I have moments when I'm in the pulpit at my church, I share them because those were amazing moments for me and for my team and for the ministry as a whole. I'm just excited to share, and like the consistency of what I've been sharing has, I guess unknowingly, like really created a fan base and created a following that I'm just like I'm very grateful for. I'm very appreciative of. But again, at the same time, my message is Jesus. My message is, uh, His love, His goodness, and His mercy. And I don't know. Sometimes when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this, that, and the third," I'm just like, it's like I don't know how to answer other than like, to God be the glory. But I don't know. I don't know if I answered that
Right.
question right, but that's just where I'm at.
Absolutely. I feel you. I definitely feel you on that. Um, Sometimes, because I sing too, and
Mhm.
sometimes people have a tendency, and they mean well. I'm not saying that they don't, but they sometimes they have a tendency to associate you with only that, and they see you as only that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, there go, Shalindria. She so can sing something. Hey, there she
Mhm.
go, sing something. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? And they tend to kind of, without even really trying for real, they just kind of pigeonhole you into that. But you're like, hey, I like other stuff too. I do other things too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is that something that you've had to contend with, where people just see you as that?
Yes, and like a lot of places I've been, or a lot of churches that I've been, I'll just go visit, and they'll ask me, "Come on up here and sing," and most of the time I hate it. I'm like, I just came to visit, like
Mm,
literally, I just came to visit. Or I hate when
right,
I'm put on the spot.
right.
I hate it. I'll laugh it off and I'll go do it, but most of the time I'm just like, this, yeah, I don't like it. I'm like, I came to enjoy, I came to refill, or if I go to another service, or I go to a lounge, or if I go just to go unwind, go to a restaurant somewhere, I don't want to be like, oh girl, go ahead and sing. And everybody got their phones out. It's just like, I just came to relax. Because that's not me all the time. There's more to me than
Mm,
just the singer.
right.
Even though I love to sing. I like doing background. If I can do background vocals in the studio and arrange all day,
Yeah.
That's my life. Absolutely.
Understood. Well, okay, so nowadays, ministry is a whole lot different than it was when we were children. It's presented a whole different way. It used to be suited and booted. It used to be, ties and, you know, very neat and straight laced. Whereas nowadays, ministry has become a little, and I'm talking about the presentation of ministry right now. It's become it's become a little looser. You know what I mean? Whereas the pastors used to wear the double breasts, now they wearing t-shirts, ripped jeans, and Timbs or Jordans or whatever, and it's kind of trickled down
Mm-hmm.
in the culture. And right now, like I said, the presentation is a whole lot different. And a lot of churches that you go into nowadays, nobody's dressed up, or hardly
Mm-hmm.
anybody's dressed up. And like I said, it's kind of trickled down into the music as well. I guess it couldn't help but trickle down into the music. So now a lot of the music that you hear is a lot more has a lot more of a urban,
Mm-hmm.
if not urban, more of a CCM type of feel. Um, has that affected you in I can't even talk. Has that affected you or influenced you in any way? Do you think about that when you're in your creative process? Has this new culture made it easier for you to do what you do, or has it been a challenge because of how things have changed over the last decade or so?
I don't think it's made it hard for me to be who I am as far as what God has given me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised at when I do uh like really embrace and show forth everything that He's given me, the response, even from the older generation. I remember when I had performed one of my songs called Normal. That type of song is just a conversation that I had with God because I was in a place where things were just
Mm-hmm.
not going the way that I felt like it should be going. And I performed the song at my church, and the response from the older generation really blew me away. And I understand like culture has changed, music has changed. We have had to embrace um, just a new way. But the thing is, me personally, because of where I grew up and how I grew up, I embrace the old and the new. But at the same time, I know when you really want to go to church, you just go back to that old way. But the way we dress, first of all, it's hot to be wearing a three-piece suit every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot.
Right.
People that got wisdom. We had enough people fainting and falling out because they just hot. Um,
Right.
Nothing. I'm not knocking it. There's nothing wrong with it. I love going to a churchy church. Um, but it doesn't mean that that church is more anointed because they have on all this stuff, or that church has power because they have on all this stuff. So we gotta know the spirit. You can't just go by. A lot of people just go by what they see. Like that ain't church because they got on jeans. Go in that church and you will be delivered because they have such a pure and authentic heart, and their posture before
Right.
God is right. So we can't label what we see as not like lukewarm or non-powerful. When you go into a place, it's like this is by the book, this is by the schedule. They just trying to like have this service, and where's God? But then when you go in certain places, it's like, okay, God is here. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as it affecting my music, it has never. I've always written from a place. Everything has been given to me from Him, like every single thing. I don't really write music unless He give it to me. I won't sit there and force myself and do it. I can get a track, write some lyrics to a track, and let's go, and it be hot. Got some good harmony on there, but it's more authentic when it comes from a place where I've been, where I'm about to go, or what I've already come out of.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm glad you brought it up. Normal. Normal is a song that kind of snatched me. I had seen some, when I prepare for these interviews, I try to immerse myself in the person. So like I watch their performances or their interviews or just maybe their social media just to kind of get a sense of who they are and what their vibe is and so on and so forth. And so normal, that song, that conversation, uh it snatched me because it was so authentic to me. It was so genuine to me. And it's funny that we're having this conversation because last night at my rehearsal, we were talking about this very thing. Um, Jesus, at one point, he was speaking to his disciples and he asked them, he said, who do people say that I am? And people are like, oh, they say that you're a prophet. They say you're this, they say you're David. They say you're this, you're that, and the other. And then he turns to them and says, well, okay, who do you say that I am? Right?
Mhm.
And so bringing that to modern times, normal is answering that question. I believe that nowadays, while we're on the subject of the new culture, a lot of the ministry that's going forth is testimonial. Like
Mhm.
these are things that as back in the day, it used to be more biblical. Now it's more personal.
Mhm.
You know, I'm going to tell you who God is to me in regards to what he's brought me through or what
Mhm.
he's helped me overcome or how he changed me or how he healed me or how he took away addiction or whatever the case may be. Um, Normal answers is that speaks to that because we already know what our favorite we know what Fred Hammond's who Fred Hammond says God is because we've heard him. We know who Ty Tribbett says God is because we've heard his ministry.
Mhm.
But what is Miss Lott? Who does Miss Lott say that Jesus is? And normal really speaks to that, and it really speaks to what we're talking about here as it pertains to um, testimonial music that has become um, I hate to use the word popular, but prominent in the culture nowadays.
Mhm.
What are your feelings on that?
I never heard it put that way, so but I agree. It's just people are coming from a more personal experience, like Jonathan McReynolds. Like when you say words like, "May your struggles keep you near the cross,"
Right,
you know,
right,
let all your bad days prove that God is good. It's just that comes from a place of knowing that when you're in your lowest of low, that God is there and that you're not by yourself. And so, God to me is, we say this all the time, but literally everything. He's literally the breath that I breathe. He's literally the life that I'm living. He's really the reason, the only reason why I move. And everything that's in my music is Him. I'm working with my producer so that we can go ahead and finish this song so it can be released, so that I can finally share the experience and others to come. There's others that I have that are just so deep and personal. But like to me, it sometimes it don't make sense to me. But like to others, it's like it makes perfect sense. Like my mind, or I felt this way. And sometimes we don't get those personal places because God wants us to worship Him in spirit and in truth. Truth is not always good. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's
right,
ugly. Sometimes it hurts. Like the truth, is gonna set you free, but sometimes it hurts you to set you free. But if it
hmm
saves your soul, it's doing its purpose. So we have to know that God wants that place. He wants that low place. He wants you to come to him knowing that you can trust him with your heart enough to put your walls down and come to him like a child and just say, God, I need you. God, I love you. You're my everything. And I need you without a shout of a doubt. I know that you are with me. And that's who God is to me. And I believe that's what God is moving in this generation. He's shifting what we used to do back in the day to a more personal relationship. Like he's close to us. He's closer to us because he's coming for us and we got to be ready. This generation has too many
Wow.
distractions, and that's the only way that he can get
It's-
to his people. Is like
that's-
just he's sitting around waiting, like, hey, I'm here. You're struggling. I'm
yeah.
here. I'm here to provide for you. I'm here to be your present help. Hey, he's hunting us down just like we looking for him, but we won't take the time out to even notice that he's there. He just wants us to love him. He wants us to know him. He wants us to trust him. And we make it so complicated, but that's all he wants. That's all he wants.
Wow. Wow. I I I, I've come to realize here recently, and I think when we talked a few weeks ago, I think I might have shared it with you, but like there's one thing that we all share. You know what I'm saying? There's all, whether you're rich, poor, sick, healthy, whatever the kid, man, woman, boy, girl, we all, there's one thing that knits us, that we all can speak to on some level, and that's pain. Everybody has endured some level of pain, whether it be physical pain, emotional pain, even spiritual pain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I've become to realize here recently is that just as much as we are responsible for the blessings that we receive, and just as we are responsible for sharing the things that we overcome and that we get delivered from and that we get changed from, we are just as responsible for the pain. And because the pain is just a big as opportunity as the testimony of the blessing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we can, but what happens is sometimes we can either misuse it. And what I mean by that, we share the pain, but with the wrong motive.
Mm-hmm.
If I if I say certain things to Shalindria, then I can get a certain thing back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or we dim it so that people don't know that we've gone through things, so it looks like every time we get in front of people, it looks like we've never had a day of pain in our life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But what I've come to realize is that we are just as responsible for the pain that we endure as we are
Mm-hmm.
for the things that we overcome. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we are speaking to God, and when we ask God, well, what do I say in this season, or what do I say at this time, or what am I going to preach about for the pastors and the ministers out there? We have to ask them too, just as much. Do I share this pain that I'm going through?
Mm-hmm.
How do I express this? You know what I mean? I lost my wife. I lost my house. I lost my job. I didn't know where my next meal was gonna come from. My bank account, I got robbed, I got shot, I got whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have to be as cognizant and responsible for that as we do, you know, our blessings as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I agree.
going
We have to do that. Because the Bible says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the
right,
word of our testimony. And if we're not
absolutely,
sharing our testimony, you don't have to be all the way transparent when you just get down to the ugly, ugly parts of it, unless you are in an arena and a safe space where you can. But some people are going through some of the similar things that you've been through and need to know how you got out. Because sometimes as long as you, as long as we've been Christians, as long as we've had faith, sometimes you forget what you need to do when you're in certain situations because you're so blinded by the pain, you're blinded by the struggle, you're blinded by all the distractions. And sometimes we just need to turn the volume down on life and allow God to speak because we don't even want to hear. We're just trying to fix. I'm trying to make this, I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm trying to do this on my own when God is telling us all along, trust me. Seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and everything will be added unto you. Just seek me. Don't come to me for the outcome. Don't come to me looking for the blessing. Come to me looking for me.
Right.
Because if you're in a relationship with somebody, if the only thing you're with them for is their money or what they have, it ain't gonna last too long. And that
Right.
person gonna get frustrated with you. And that's how God is, and that's how we treat him. Like he's just supposed to just come through and just make a way and everything. He don't go around saying, just have faith. Just have faith. It's gonna be all right. He don't say that. He said, trust me. That's what he says. And if we don't trust him, we're gonna continue to go through those cycles of pain, cycles of struggle, and everything that comes in that pain is supposed to cultivate strength. It's supposed to cultivate even more faith, knowing that we can still trust God in a different way. He's not going to always be the same God that came through last time. It's going to be a different way. He's going to come and show himself in a different form. He'll be a healer at this point of your life. He'll be a savior. He'll be a redeemer. He'll be your provider at one moment. Like, God, you did before. I know you're going to do it again. And one thing we got to stop doing is trying to figure out how he's going to do it. We just got to know that he's going to do it. We got to get to that place. He wants us to have childlike faith. And as hard as it is in this world, especially as a woman, I can speak for myself. We want security. We want to know what's going on. We need to know everything taken care of. What we're going to eat for dinner. We need to know all this stuff because as a woman, you just want to be secure. But my security and my faith and my hope is in him, even when I don't know where this all is coming from. I was talking to one of my friends last night, and I just get to a point in my life and I just said, God, you got it. You got it. I can't do it. And everything in your life is going to continue to fail until you trust him. Everything is going to continue to like get on your nerves and continue to try to deter your faith until you get it to the point where like, okay, God, you got it. You got to get to a point where you truly surrender what you thought your life should look like. You got to surrender what you feel like he should do for you. Because only God knows. We don't have his thoughts. We don't know his ways. So we have to submit to his thoughts and submit to his ways and trust him in that. And that's what he's trying to build within us. We got to get all that anger out, get all that bitterness out, get all that pain out, because we're asking for more of God. And that's another thing. We ask for more of God, but then like we see more trouble. But the more we ask of him, we got to get everything that's in us out. And we don't realize that in the moment. It's like, I'm just going through this pain. I'm always going through. I'm always at the same road. But have you trusted God for real? And I'm talking to myself like, have you really, really trusted God?
Right. Right. I think that sometimes we say a lot of things because we've been conditioned to say them. Growing up in church, you hear certain phrases and certain rhetoric and certain things, and we repeat them.
Mm-hmm.
And but when we think about it, we don't really know what we're saying.
Yeah, just like you said earlier about the times changing with the gospel and with the
Mhm.
preaching, our language has to change.
Right.
Because our relationship changes. He's not saying that he's not God then, but he's in a different way. He's trying to shift the church in a different way, and we got to know that he's trying to take us somewhere else. We can't depend on last year's word. If it already came to pass. We got to keep moving. He said, keep on pressing, press toward the goal for the prize of the high call. You got to forget those things that are behind you. That's good and bad. The good stuff you can't get stuck on. Oh, I got this good victory over here, because you'll get stuck and you'll get complacent and you'll get prideful. But you got to know that God wants to do more.
Awesome. So with that understanding, your whole movement and the things that you've been able to accomplish up to this point, do you feel like you're the person that you set out to be at this point? not not necessarily said it when it's all said and done, but what I'm saying, like, are you who you are you who you set out to be? Are you the person that you set out to be at this moment? When you think about everything that you've experienced and overcome and navigated up to this point.
No, I would say because my plans were to, like I said, let me get out here and be like Kiera. Let me get out here and be like all these other artists that's out here my age, at age 18, and get out here and not really knowing and having a full relationship and having a full understanding of the capacity of what God has for me. So where He's brought me to this point is like I'm grateful for the journey, even though it was a long journey of being hidden and being behind the scenes, because I set out with my own plans, but God said, I know the plans that I have for you. We
Right.
say that scripture all the time, but
Mhm.
we don't know exactly what it means. Yeah, because He knows the plans He has for me. No, I know. We
Right.
create our own plans, but He knows what He has designed for us. And once we accept what He planned for us, that's when we're walking into the expected end. Because the intended end is the expected end. Sometimes we don't get to that point because we go our own way with our own plans, with our own mindset. He puts that in us so that He can cultivate us and teach us how to follow Him. When we're kids, He give us, it's like we play, like sometimes people play church or they play teacher or they play nurse and hospital, and it's kind of cultivating you to what you're going to do in your adult life. We don't know it, and then when we go our own way and we kind of like hustle and get on our feet and do these things, and we thinking that it's us putting these goals and plans into place, but He really has been giving us the nuggets to follow Him. So it's just, I didn't set out for not being seen, but I'm grateful that I haven't really, really been seen. I'm grateful because that heartache and that headache is what He was saving me from. And we got to accept the grace of God. The grace of God uh, doesn't always look like, oh, it's just going to be, He got His grace. No, sometimes the grace of God is you stuck in traffic for 30 minutes before you get to work when that accident could have been set up for you. The
Right.
grace of God is even if you were to get sick, that means that your body needed to rest and God was trying to save you. Or if you had a near death experience, I don't wish that on anybody, but those who have had to wake up and God gave you another chance to get it right on this side, that's the grace of God. So sometimes a lot of things that He keeps from us is His grace, because He will not keep any good thing from us. So we got to realize that. And this is just a journey, and I'm just enjoying the journey, even though sometimes it's lonely, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's frustrating. But it's like, I'd rather be here than on my own trying to get everything done. And in the end, I lose it all.
I got a couple of questions, couple more questions. You just kind of sparked some a thought in my head. Okay, you're single. You're a single woman
Hmm.
with 5 children,
Hmm.
not married. You know,
Anymore.
singing,
Hmm.
singing Christian music.
Hmm.
There are some who will look at you and say, this person has no business
Yeah.
doing doing this, because look at look at what she's done. You know what I mean? Like, look, she has 5 kids and no husband. She's on her own. Listen, why is she even attempting to do what she's doing?
I don't
Um,
even
what,
care
what,
if I had 5 baby daddies. If
right.
God got a call on my life, He got a call on my life. But in my case, I was married
Hmm.
16 and a half years, and we had 5 children together. We did ministry together. We traveled together, singing, preaching,
Hmm.
instilling that in our children. So me on this journey of having gone through my divorce and,
Hmm.
just coming to a new normal and trying to get a new way of life.
Right.
Um,
Was that something that you had to come to grips with? Because
mhm,
even like you said, you were married. You were in a committed marriage.
mhm.
16 16 years. Was that something that people constantly reminded you of? Was that something that you had to contend with? People pointing the finger and said, hey, she didn't keep her marriage together. She doesn't, or whatever the case. Like, is that something that you've had to contend with at any point?
No,
Awesome.
no. Things that happened, in my marriage, it was best for the separation.
Right.
And
Well,
that's
I'm
all.
saying I'm speaking in reference to the people that
Like people,
are outside, on the outside looking in. You get what I'm saying? Like,
they never came to me and said it. If they
right,
had something to say, they didn't say it to me. But
right.
I tell my story. I'm not ashamed of my story.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my ex were still friends. We still talk. We
Awesome.
still got adult kids, but we wanted to set an example of getting along. We
Use-
didn't want to have no discord.
Right,
Sometimes we've had our run-ins, but it's just what's the point of
mm-hmm.
fighting? What's the point of all this stuff? Because I'm not trying to have all this in my heart. I'm not trying to have anything against nobody. We went through what we went through, and God brought us out of everything. He kept
Right,
us, and that's enough to continue to give God praise for, and to continue to move in Him, because it was Him that brought me through. It wasn't nobody and nobody's opinion and what they got to say. None of that.
right,
It was just me and God, because they weren't there when I
right.
cried nights by myself. They weren't there when I was literally about to lose my mind, losing my home and my job and my car. They weren't there. So how dare um, I, take upon myself the opinions of people when they change? When God, He changes not, He fails not.
Right. I mean, in your experience, I'm sure even in your local community, you come into contact with other artists like yourself, and men and women, and or whatever. Do you feel like your journey has been different because you're a woman, and not just because you're a woman, a single woman at that? I ask artists this all the time. You know what I mean? Because inherently, somebody might look at you and say, okay, here's this young lady. She's very pretty, very put together. And they feel like you're silly. They feel like that's all there is. So like, I can come to you and I can do I can come to you with any type of deal, and you'll take it because of the fact that you're single. You're a single, young lady or whatever, and they think that because you are in the position that you're in, and you look how you look,
That I'm desperate
that
for it.
you don't have the mind
Mm.
to do good business for yourself, or to go forth in a professional way, because they look at you and they feel like that's all that is, all there is. Is
Mm.
that, do you feel like your experiences, at any point, do you feel like you have been treated differently, or your journey has been more difficult than your male counterparts?
Well, I mainly stay in the church
Mhm.
and do I don't want to say gigs, but like I just do church services. But getting into doing the background vocals for different artists, I have seen the ugly side of it. And I've had run-ins where certain people that are in high places that look for certain things, and it's like, it's so sad. And they think I'm dumb, they think I'm stupid.
Right,
I'm just gonna give into whatever they say, because yeah, she looking like she want to be desperate for a gig.
right,
She looking like she desperate for um, attention, but I'm not. And it's like I've had, some people, I'm not gonna say anybody's name. Some people like approach me in very inappropriate ways because I'm a female and because I'm single, and
Mhm.
and it's sad because it's gospel, and it was gospel that came to me,
Right. So
in a
do you feel
moment
like
where.
so do you feel like you've had to take like some special precautions
Hmm.
as opposed
Always,
to your male
always, because a man is dominant, and that's just naturally. That's how God created men, and
hmm
women, we are receivers, and so that's we just supposed to just submit, and kind of receive from the male counterpart. But
hmm
it's just in this industry, I'm not gonna say gospel industry, it's just the industry period. It's very evil, it's very wicked, and you have to be very careful and be very mindful, and you have to be wise in what you do. So it's important to get your education concerning the music business, concerning all these different numbers that they try to throw at you, and make sure that you have your ducks in a row when you get out here. If you ain't ready for it, don't.
Right.
You're not missing out on nothing, but you're not missing out on heartache. You're not missing out on being broke and taking and being scammed. You're not missing out on being, taken advantage of in every aspect. So it's different. It's more of a press for women, I would say, because we have to, even though like gospel industry is female dominated, but you got the women, they have to be so hard, they have to be so strong and tough because of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, and because of the way that we are received. We
hmm
have to present ourselves in a different way. But like for men, it's just like, oh, hmm, you know, they got it. They got their stuff together. Like women don't.
Right. Right. That's amazing. That's amazing. I always am curious about, things like that. Um, just because you hear so many things and media says certain things and you don't really know. So it's good to hear artists like yourself and others be transparent, in that way. That's absolutely a dope thing. Um, let's talk about real quick. I just got a few more questions.
Okay.
Um, the presentation. Again, back to the presentation. Not like I talked to a lot of other artists, male and female, and again, the presentation of gospel is a lot different than it was back in the day. A lot of times, back in the day, you wouldn't see an artist without a robe on. They're not coming up before you without a
Mhm.
robe on. Doing whatever they doing.
Mhm. Now everything hanging out.
Right.
But keep going.
Well, I
Keep going.
well, I'm not gonna say that, but I'll just say that again, the presentation is a lot different, and particularly for women of color who are naturally curvy and
Mhm.
naturally endowed in certain areas, and sometimes no matter what you wear, it's still going to um it's going to shine through.
Mhm.
You know, um, and I ask artists all the time, like, how do they feel? And I've had artists say, well, I I don't wear no jewelry, I don't wear no makeup, I don't, I try to dress as drab and as modest as I can because I want them to see God and not me. But then on the flip side of that, I've had artists that say, look, listen, I got Gucci and I'm going to wear it. I got Prada, I'm going to wear it. Wherever, I got jewelry, I'm going to wear it because I'm representing God. And how can I get in front of these people and talk about a God that will bless you and, take you from here to there, but I don't look like nothing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and it's funny because you have two ends of the spectrum, but they use the same perspective to explain why they do what they do.
Mhm.
So like more so with women than it is with men, unless you're Kirk Franklin. um, is that something that you're cognizant of when you go out? you know, do you toil over, what you wear and how, how you are looked upon? Because again, women, particularly women of color, you can't help it. And
Yeah.
so people are going to point it out, whether whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your feelings on that personally when you are on your journey to do, stand in front of the people and stuff like that? How do you see it?
Well, I am old school. I did stop wearing stockings. I will say that I have graduated, but I believe in being covered. Um, the I recently, got used to wearing pants, in the pulpit
Hmm.
because back in the day it's like no, if you're up ministering, you wear a skirt.
Right.
But it's just a way that we do it, and I know that women have this issue a lot, especially in if you're on the praise team or if you're in different churches. I'm like, women know we can't help what we have, but the thing is, we know what we have, and we have to apply it. We have to dress according to what we have. Not saying you should get up there looking old fashioned, but if you wear this too tight, something gonna hang out. And sometimes it
Mm.
ain't pretty. It ain't appeasing. It ain't appealing. Even if you were not singing the gospel, you
Right.
got this cut across, your belly, and we see, this split right here. It don't
Yeah.
look right.
Right.
So with me, because I know what I have. I have to be careful not to send the wrong message to the person who's trying to receive Christ, to the one who's already ready to judge, you know what I'm saying? Or the person that's just coming for the first time. Or even to some of these people who have all their own issues and they need to check their walk with God, because a lot of these people be covered up and they still be like, ooh, you need to check your walk with God because, something wrong with you. But
Right.
there's nothing wrong with looking good, nothing wrong with representing Christ the best way that you can, but it's a way. I don't believe in having chest out, cleavage out. I don't believe that. I don't believe your split should be all the way up. That's what the world does because we're trying to win that type of audience. Like where's God in it? Like, would you stand? And I said this before. Like, would you stand before God and worship Him, knowing? Not saying that not that come as you are person. I ain't talking about that. You come in off the street. I'm talking about the way of Christ, and you have confessed Him as your Lord and Savior. You have walked with Him, and you have already had this relationship. Would you come before God and do praise and worship at your local church, or if you're singing anywhere, and God literally is standing right there? Would you feel comfortable? We'll be pulling and trying to close up.
Right.
You wouldn't feel comfortable. Like
Right.
I've been
Right.
in the mirror. Like if I jump on here, it will this hold me together. I can't have
Yeah.
everything going everywhere. I
Right.
have to check all this stuff.
Right.
So we have to be very. We as the body of Christ have to be very presentable
Hmm.
because people are watching. They're going to always label us as, oh, you're supposed to be saved.
Right.
You're supposed to be saved. I mean, like if you hear that all the time, then you might need to change a lot of different stuff that you're doing outwardly. Not saying that that's who you are inwardly because of the way you dress,
Right.
but you know what you have. I shouldn't see men pants so tight. You know what you have. Are
Yeah.
we trying to? Because I've seen stuff behind the stage. They get off the stage and go back, and they have all their little entourage, and it ain't all. It's either men and women. So it's just like we're presenting people sometimes a weak God. I'm just coming for a good time when it's too detrimental out here to be playing. And I know that I'm only 40 years old. So it's just like I speak like I'm 80, but God is coming back. And
Right.
everything that we do, we need to be conscious of what we do and how we do it. And we don't always get it right. I'm not saying be perfect because only God is perfect, but He wants us to represent Him in the best way so that we can win more people. And we can't even fight with the world because we look like them.
Mm, mm,
Everybody's saved. Yeah, I'm saved. I'm saved. I go and I smoke, I drink. I'm not knocking nobody that do. I'm just saying there's a standard. It's like, what is he saving you from if you're still doing the same thing? Because
mm.
the word save means you save from something,
Right,
not you safe for the moment.
right.
That's good. We saved, so we have to be calm. I know me. Yeah, I know me. I work with myself all the time, and I told my team, I'm like, I come for myself first. There's some things I had to wear because of colors, and this was the only thing I had. I was up there and I hated it
Hmm.
because it was too tight or it was just showing too much. And then the cameras, they get all the dimples, they get all the stuff. These HD cameras that's out here now, these four whatever, they catch everything. They're gonna get all of it. So you out
Yeah,
there thinking you look good, you go back and look at that broadcast. It'll tell you.
right. I feel you. I feel you.
It'll teach you more than anybody else can say something. It'll teach you a whole lot more. We have to be careful.
Okay. Let's move on.
I hope
Let's
I'm
move
answering your questions.
No, you
I'm trying to do the
absolutely
best way I can.
you absolutely are. You absolutely are. You're doing an amazing job. Um, this is another question that I ask artists as well. Um, do you feel like the church, in your experience, do you feel like the church gives the proper reverence or respect to the praise and worship leader now? Um, and what I mean, and let me kind of give you context. You have a certain service. They call you to come do praise and worship, and they got Pastor Bishop Dr. X coming to preach. So they tell the pastor, hey, look, we would love to have you come speak. We want to give you $5,000 to come speak. Okay. They come to you, say, hey, we heard that a normal kicking. We love it. We need it. We want you to come window praise and worship. We want to give you $50 and a chicken dinner. How do you feel like nowadays that the the church sees the importance or the relevance of having praise a solid, strong praise and worship team or artist come or whatever? Has it been your experience that there's still kind of a disconnect between the
It
music
is.
ministry and the
It is. Even though I don't, people ask me how much you charge for this or how much you charge for that, and it's hard for me to answer that question because I come from a generation where you sang in church, you didn't get paid for it. Musicians came, they were people that belonged to the church, they didn't get paid for it, and pastors at the time they didn't get paid to pastor. They believe God. But nowadays, that's like an ongoing like argument that's in the church now. Like you have the bishops and archbishops and everybody come in, and then they get paid all this money, and then they have the nerve to raise another offering. But that's another story. Um, I don't get that. The Lord told me, gave me a specific number. I'm not saying that He don't. I don't understand it. But I've seen the difference when I'm invited somewhere, and I know that I was given. I'm not saying I should be given just as much as the pastor or the person who's preaching, but there is a difference, and it's real touchy when you talk about that subject because it comes from a place like, should I even be getting paid? Or because that's how they look at us. They look at us singers and worshipers like, I don't even think they don't even be getting paid no way. They need to just come and do it from their heart, which we do. But at the same time, we have our lives, and if my heart is right and my motives is right, It should be just a love offering, which is something that you want to just give anyway, not just because I'm hired to do it. It's
Hmm.
I don't know. It's touch and go. It's a sensitive.
So
It's
I
a
guess,
sensitive. It's hard to answer that one.
yeah. So guess what I'm asking? Like, is it in your mind when you think about it? Is it okay to when if like I said, a certain service, hey, we need Shalindria to come render praise and worship. Is it okay to say, okay, I need X?
Mm-mm. Because most of the time you have people like me who sing with everything that they have, and I've left places with my voice gone, didn't have gas to get there, and then don't have nothing to really get back. But I thank God and I just go on. But it's at the same time it's not right or fair, and I do like judge how much the congregation like what they can actually do. I'm not finna, you go to a small church and you just want $500. We can work together with what you can do, but
But is it okay to
don't
ask?
use me. Don't use me. And I've been in that place where I've been used. I go to a certain place and it's like, here you go. And it's like, hmm. Go back and it's the same thing and it gets smaller and smaller. And it's just like, it feels like you're being used for your gift and instead of, appreciate it for the gift that, God is giving you.
Wow.
Hmm.
So do you? I mean, so what I hear you saying is that if you're requested to come to a certain service or whatever, and you don't have a certain amount, you just hope for.
I'll put there, but I work with what they have as far as
Gotcha,
like, what is your budget? Like, what can you do? Can we negotiate? Do you
gotcha.
want me to bring musicians? Do you want me to bring singers? Because that's more. Because if
Gotcha.
I pay for them, that means you gotta pay me back.
Right. Fact.
Not I pay them and then I just go get the $100 and go back and I done spent $500 for my band of singers.
Fact.
Not adding up.
Yeah.
So it's just I work with them and I work with the
Yeah.
church.
Yeah. I've spoken to many artists again, and I ask them, and I get all types of different answers. Like I have had people say, look, they don't charge nothing. They just go there hoping that they give them a love offering or whatever, and that be that. But then I've had artists who have said that they don't do nothing unless they have a set contract. Like they already have contracts. Like, and if that church doesn't um sign the contract, then
Yeah,
then that's that.
I've seen
She's
it.
I had one artist tell me I had one artist tell me, she said she has to keep the church honest because if she doesn't, they won't be.
Mm, wow.
And I don't know. What I'm
That,
saying? What do you really say to that? You know what I
whew,
mean?
yeah.
Her experience.
Mm.
But what would you say? I'm down to my last couple questions. Um, what would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you?
Like you think that I was mad or I'm mean because when I'm
Why are you
not
gonna put
smiling.
me up? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do
I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as I got, he said, "You mad? I'm sorry. I
that.
had computer issues." Um, just 2 minutes. 2 minutes later,
Whatever.
I have a resting face. If I'm not smiling, I automatically look like I'm mean or I'm mad. Um, but that's the main thing I've gone through my whole life, and I've tried to work on it. And I go back and I look at like our live feed, and I'm just like, man, my face so mean. And even when I try to smile, it's like she's forcing it. But I'm really not. I feel the to know me is a person that love to laugh. I'm funny. I love to joke. Um, I like to have fun, but then like my social anxiety, it wears thin. It's like I gotta go because I still am introverted because people think that I'm an extrovert and I'm not. I'm
Mhm.
just very reserved and laid back. Even though I'm in your face when it comes down to doing ministry, behind the scenes, I'm just like you saw me when you first got on the camera. Are you mad? Are you mad? But yeah, that's the most. And one thing that I went through growing up, people always thought, and it's mainly females, and I don't know why females always do this. She thinks she all that, and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to fit in. I just want friends. And I never was the person that fit in. I never was the person that was, in the cliques or in the groups. And I wanted to be because I never felt like I was important growing up. But now that I have grown up and don't care nothing about it, I don't look forward to it. So it's just like, whatever you think or whatever you got to say is your opinion and you're entitled to that part. But if you just want to get to know me, if you're not my friend, that's your fault because I'm real easy to get along with. Um, if you just get past, my mad face, if you can get the courage.
Right. Okay. This is my last official question for you. It's a question that I ask all my guests, so I want you to just take a moment, think about it, and give me the most honest answer that you can give me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question. What would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
Success to me, it's really deep because you can think of so much. You can think of, just having a house, a car, and all the things that we need physically. But success to me is being able to wake up the next day to get another chance and get another try at aiming for those things or aiming towards a better life for my children because they are the most important part of my life is making sure that they are happy. We try to protect them from going through, but we know that they have to go through. We know that they have to go through their own journeys, but success to me is another chance to help build them and cultivate them and to push them into their dreams and let them know that they can go far and beyond where they see me and their father and people that are around them because of the things that they went through. I don't want anything to like stifle them or to make them stagnant. I want them to succeed. And I believe that success alone will make me feel like I have done my job. It may not be the most thought out or the most best job ever, but at least I didn't give up on that job. And that's my children. I love my children. And they are amazing.
Well, I thank you for being so honest and transparent. I thank you for coming on the platform. It's kind
Thank
of
you
been
for having
a long time coming.
I
And
was
even
super nervous.
and
Like,
I couldn't tell. But even even though we've talked for over an hour, I still feel like we just scratched the surface. But
yeah, I thought you was gonna go a lot deeper, so that's what I was scared of. But next time, we gotta do it this
well,
time.
that's for part two. I want no seriously though. I would like to extend to you an open invitation to come back on the platform whenever you deem fit. If there's something that you want to promote or talk about, I do panels all the time about different subjects, including gospel music industry, beauty, dating.
Wow,
We talk about current events, all that type of stuff.
cool.
Um, and I would love to have you back on anytime.
I got you.
I thank you again for coming on and being so and for being so gracious. If somebody wanted to um, talk to you or for you to kind of expound on some of the things that you expressed tonight, or if somebody wanted to, I don't know, book you to come to their event or their church or whatever, how could they get in touch with you?
They can reach out to me on all my social media platforms. I am on Facebook. under Sing Shalindria, or you can go to Shalindria Lott. If you go ahead and look at the screen, my name is right there, so go ahead and take it down because trying to spell my name is not easy. But anyway, I'm on Instagram again, Sing Shalindria. I think it's either 1984 or 84, but you'll see my picture. It's the same as the Facebook picture. TikTok, that's Sing Shalindria 1. I try to keep everything the same, you know. That helps.
Gotcha.
I go to some churches and
Gotcha.
it's like, you go here and give for the Zelle. You go right here for the cash app, and everything ain't the same. And it's like, which one? You trying to get your phone out?
Right.
Anyway,
Right. Right.
but yeah, you can reach out to me on social media. I answer all my messages. You can email me at singshalindria@gmail.com. I just put that out there. Golly. But anyway, the emails, God is working on me to answer those, with expedience. I don't like emails, but I will get to it. I guess
So do
experience.
you
Like, did you get my email? Did you open up the song? Did you do it? I'm like, I'm gonna go and do it.
right. Do you have management right
No,
now?
no.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I again would like to thank you again for coming on to the platform. I appreciate you and
Thank
your
you.
honesty and transparency. I want to shout out your family, your children, your church. Shout out your church.
Voices of faith. Love my church. Love my children. My
I want to
children.
shout out.
My children, Naomi, Silas, Jaira, Trinity, and Soraya. Those are my babies. They range from ages 21, 20, 19, 18, and
Awesome.
16.
Shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I thank them for allowing you for lending you to me for an hour.
I'm always busy. She always
Again, I appreciate you for, like I said, being so honest and transparent. I would love to have you on again, uh, whenever you are ready or whenever you feel like you want to do it. This is an open invitation to come back. You did an amazing job.
I'm doing
Is
something
there
in
any last where you?
Hold on, you are breaking up.
Hold on. Yeah.
Dave.
I think it's. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any last words that you want to share before we sign off?
To those who are watching, do you see how many people are watching? Or to those who will watch, I'll just say
Say
this.
that again.
I said, do you see how many people are watching? Because I can't see that.
You were breaking up. I didn't really hear you.
I said, do you see how many people are watching, or can you see that, or no?
That's crazy. We go through this whole interview, and then at the end, that's when I want to act crazy. That's so crazy.
Can you hear me now? Ah.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, let me just get to the point because we don't want to.
Tell us again if is there something that you want to share before we sign off?
To those who are watching, to those who will watch this, I just pray that the messages and the answers that I gave will be helpful and beneficial to your life, and just open your eyes to think and to see differently, and know that God is with you with everything that you do, and everywhere that you go, any place, and in every endeavor that you have to go through. Just know that He's there and that you're not by yourself. I cannot emphasize how much God has just been here with me through everything that I've been through. And it was nobody but Him that brought me out. And we say that in church, and it sounds cliche, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that God has always been there. And that's my testimony. So whenever you're feeling like you're alone, know that he's there, and don't allow the enemy to minister to you and say that you are alone, that you're by yourself and ain't nobody else going through but you. That's a lie. That's a lie. You have the greater one that's in you. He's walking with you. He's around you. And all you got to do is open up your mouth and address the situation, because life, a lot of times we keep our mouth shut when we got a lot of things going on and bombarding our minds. We got to open up our mouth. Like, God, I need you. I need your help. Cry out to him, and I'm telling you, them thoughts will stop. That's all I got to say. I can go. I've learned that, the older that I get, I actually do talk a lot. So let me just go ahead and be quiet.
No, that's cool. I don't, it's about perspective. You know, we all see things in a different way, but when you get older, you realize that you have a lot to share. You live life.
Yeah.
You've lived life, and you have something to offer. You have, so, if a person, I think the Bible says something like, only a fool despises wisdom.
Mm.
So if a person, decides to not listen, or hey, she's talking too much, then you know what the word says. So whatever. but again, what can you say? Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. But again, I want to thank you, and I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you again, and I wish you much blessings on everything. Matter of fact, one last thing: do you have any events coming up? Is there anything? What's next on the calendar? Is there anything that you want to share?
No major events for right now. I know that I will be singing on the 22nd, and I will post it on my pages. If you heard all my pages, I will post it. Give you the name of the church. It's called Alive City Church in, I think it's Lithonia, Georgia. I'll be out there with some of my friends, the awesome Lachey Knox, that lady right there. That's who you need to interview. She just dropped a single with Ernest
Hook
Cleveland.
me up.
That girl is amazing. Um,
Hook me up. Hook me up if you can. Hook me up.
I would most definitely, because they always looking for ways to just like promote. Um, I will be out there, and then I'm doing my first. I'm doing something in December. I'm just gonna say that. So just be on the lookout,
Okay.
and I will be sharing some
You
more
got a
details.
date?
My daughter's like, don't promote it yet. Well, I will be announcing it soon. So just be on the lookout.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Got you. Got you. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna let you go. Like I said, I want to be mindful of your time because I want you to come back. So I
Yeah,
don't want you to be like, oh, he kept me 2 hours.
lies.
But thank you. But again, thank you, and I appreciate you for coming on
Thank
and
you.
sharing. Um, we didn't really talk about your music that much, but I still feel like we covered a lot, and you know stuff
Yes.
happens the way it's supposed to happen.
But that's when you come back and you
Um,
continue the conversation. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna continue the
that's a
conversation.
fact. That's a fact. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna wish you good night. Like I said, I wish you much blessings on everything that you have coming up, and even the things that you haven't thought of yet. I wish you much blessings on that as well. Um, Normal, man. That listen,
I'm
but
excited. I'm excited to finish that one
absolutely,
because yeah,
I'm excited. I'm
makes me
excited for you.
all right.
So with that being said, you have a good night and an awesome weekend.
Good night.
Good night. There you go, guys. Another amazing interview with another amazing guest. Shout out to Shalindria Lott and her whole team, her whole family, her whole church. Um, we didn't really talk to her about her music per se. However, I feel like we touched on some things that was very valuable. I learned a lot about her. Things, some things I knew, some things I didn't, and I think that's what this platform is all about. Um, Asking the questions that don't get asked a lot, to kind of get a sense of the person behind whatever it is that they're doing, whether it be music or comedy or their business, whatever business that they run or own. Um, that's what it's about. Getting to a deeper, going past the surface, getting past the surface is what it is. Um, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to thank those of you who will watch the playback later. Please, please, please check out Normal by Shalindria Lott. It's on YouTube. I mean, it's not necessarily for sale, but we still can make it go viral on YouTube. That song is amazing, amazing, amazing. And if you listen to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Um, it just really ministers to your heart. Just really, you can tell that it really came from a general place, a sincere, heartfelt place. Other than that, guys, I want to thank you for coming on. And as always, I want to encourage you, if there's something that God gave you a vision for, something that you dream about, something that you think about, something that you know is God given, then walk in that thing. Walk in that thing, because there are people that are attached to you that are waiting for you to make certain decisions and go in a certain direction. And so if you don't, that not only belongs you, but it belongs them too. Who also coincidentally have people connected to them. And so it's kind of a spiritual domino effect, I guess, if you could call it that. So walk in it. If it's music, if it's a script, if it's a book, if it's a new job, if it's a degree, if it's a new profession, whatever it is, walk in it, because it's time. And where God gives vision, He provides provision. Sometimes you have to go to the war in order to win the war. You can't sit on the sidelines. You have to walk to it. You have to go to it and get through it. You have to go to it to get through it. I guess that just came to me just now. But anyway, you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next time. With that being said, let's take a walk.